Hi, I'm Jessie. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. I love cleaning, being organized, making lists. I love yoga, fitness, and all things healthy.
And I'm James. I drink beer, I ride bikes. I've been in the military for 21 years and I have 3 tours underneath my belt. And the only list I understand is my bucket list. 1,000 miles. You ride?
So I had to get a little harder,
And I had to get a little softer.
but somehow it works. And together, we're always
And forever on a journey.
journey.
So, Jessie, why do you want to do this world record poker run?
Well, James asked me to do this quite a few months ago, and I told him, no, this is no way I want to do this for my honeymoon. And so I was sitting at the campground talking to my friend Ken Shunk, and he was telling me how epic this is going to be and how awesome, and he was telling me about, everything that we would see. And so I just thought, after a few minutes, I went for a walk, and I was like, this would be the most epic honeymoon ever.
By the way, I proposed to you. I don't know if you caught all that.
So, James, why do you want to do this world record poker run?
See, years ago when I was in Iraq and I was in a porta potty alone with my thoughts, I created a bucket list. So I actually really do have a bucket list, and one of the list items was, to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. I didn't know how I was going to do it, didn't know why I was going to do it. When this opportunity came along, I thought, hold my beer, it's that time. So basically back in December, I got to propose to this little lady over here in front of a few friends.
A few friends?
Yo, Jessie! Will you be my wifey?
What can I say? I have a lot of friends. All I know is that taking her on a honeymoon like this, traveling across our country, to see the beautiful thing that this world is, means everything to me. So for me, the why is simple.
All right, Jessie, what does this poker run mean to you?
Well, I've always been up for a good challenge. I used to run marathons. I competed for age group running competitions here locally for 5Ks and so on. I'm always kind of pushing myself with yoga and fitness and to try and eat a little bit healthier. But when it comes to the motorcycle, in this ride specifically, last year when we went to Sturgis, we put in so many miles. And even to go back a little bit further than that, when James and I first started dating and he took me on my first long ride, which was about an hour, and I was so sore for days after that, that's really where I fell in love with the true feeling of when you're on a bike. I felt the energy shift in him. I felt the energy shift in me. With yoga and meditation, there's this sense of getting this freedom, this inner peace, this release that we are looking for. And sometimes from a stressful day, that's where I really fell in love with the bike, was on that ride. And then last year was just epic. Our ride from Sturgis, we met the club that James is a part of now, one of many. And funny story. So James and he asked me if I would go, and he was going on vacation and out with a bunch of friends without me. And so he calls me and he's like, hey, you know what? He's like, you want to go to Sturgis with me? And I was like, okay, sure. After going through all this stuff and trying to organize it, I said yes. And so he's like, oh, by the way, you're going to be going out with a friend of mine that, you've only ever met a couple of times. And also, by the way, I'm joining this club and you're going to be for 2 days with all these people that you don't know. So for me, I'm a pretty shy person, but I was like, you know what? We're just going to do this. Forget it. Just go with the flow, show up. And so that's what I did. I made about 15 plus amazing friends. We got to see places that I had already kind of been to, Mount Rushmore and so on. But it was so different seeing that from outside of what the bikers call the box, seeing it on a bike. And that feeling when I came home, like from there on out, I was like, every time he would go out on his bike, I was like, excuse me, you're taking me with you, right? And before I really didn't have that much of an interest. So being able to, first have the most epic honeymoon ever. We're going to, take the bike and drive all the way down to Florida on the bike, do the Tail of the Dragon. Just being able to see all these amazing landscapes, meet new people, all of that is a challenge for me. And I just think it's going to be amazing. I think there's going to be something spiritual about it, putting in well over 3,000 to 4,000 miles on our bike. And the hardship, the challenge, the days where you're going to feel sore and want to get off. But I just feel like the view will be worth it, the spiritual experience and our connection, and along with making a bunch of new friends.
James, what does this poker run mean to you?
It means a lot, actually. It gives me an opportunity to actually prove myself. I still have what it takes. I've always challenged myself my whole life. And I want to keep on challenging myself, because the minute you stop doing that, there's no more there. So I just keep on going with it. And to have Jessie come with this, and Jessie suggested our honeymoon, is everything. Because, backstory, the year beforehand, when things were back and forth with us, I finally told myself, the only way I can get her to know this is truly going to work, I called her up and I said, hey, want to go Sturgis with me? I figured if we can survive that, we can survive anything. And she was all about it. I told her she could meet a bunch of new friends, ride a buddy of mine. She was fine with that too. So I thought, okay, this is going to be awesome. So meanwhile, I go fly to Arizona, and my buddy Tim has to pull my truck and trailer and my girl and my dog out to Sturgis while I'm out partying in Arizona. Later on, she might have been a little upset about that one, but it happens. But she's been to these places. I've been to these places, in a cage, but never on a bike. And when we did that on a bike, it was just amazing. So to know I had this opportunity to ride from Florida all the way to Sturgis by going way out of the way through Texas and Colorado and all that fun stuff with a bunch of friends of mine on my honeymoon with my best friend of all, Jessie. For me, this means a lot to me, and I really appreciate you Badgers for putting this on. I think that's absolutely amazing. I'm so privileged to be part of this.
All right, Jessie, what's with this Jessie James thing?
So last year we were out at Sturgis, and we were at one of these bars where they had all these posts where people would write their names on it. And so I wrote Jessie James. And then we kind of laughed at it, because we were like, the old villain or whatever that was called Jessie James. And so I did a bunch of research on it, and we're a little bit of double trouble, and we cause a little mischief when we're out and about sometimes, and so it kind of stuck. So then we decided, over this past year, inspired by his voyages and travels last year, he decided that when he retires in about 9 years, that we're gonna downsize everything and get a bigger RV and take off and document different places around the country. And so we kind of figured that once we got married, we would start this Facebook page and just start, documenting the different places that we go and the little snippets about it. And so we came up with the Jessie James Journeys.
So James, what is this always in forever thing?
Well, it's a funny story, because basically this goes about 5 years. 5 years ago was the first time I met the club one of many. And I thought the patches in their back was just the coolest patches ever. And then I got to know the president, Dave Akers, Deer Slayer they call him. The most passionate guy I've ever met. That's all about taking care of vets. He believes in vets so much. And so that's why I joined the club and I finally got patched in. And I'm in love with that fact. The Forever name came from a good name guy named Tabaka. That one day something happened. We're not going to really talk about, but so I got named Forever, which is a long time, because forever is long. And but the name stuck. So I kept the name Forever. So now when everybody asks me, you know, what's up with the name Forever, I'm always telling people, hey, I'm that crazy guy. Once you meet me, you will forever remember me.
And this is the truth.
So, and how she got the Always name is basically Tobacco one day was like, he goes, Jessie's always with you. And it just kind of stuck from there. And it just made sense as we get married. And that's why we became Always and Forever. The best part about this club that I fell in love with, and why we will always and forever be appreciative to this club, is because what it does to vets. It's a mission that makes sense to me. They get me riding more than I've ever thought I'd ride. And we are always going around spending hours and time doing everything we can to help vets in need. We are making sure that vets are taken care of, and the mission behind it is just amazing. I can't count the amount of people that we changed their lives last year. I mean, just to know that I was a part of that. I mean, these guys have been doing this for a long, long time, and I just now getting started. So I have a lot of big feet to fill before I can catch up to these guys of what they've done, and I'm really appreciative to them, you know. And so, wrapping this whole thing up, what this is all about for us is we just want to have fun on a journey. And by the way, 505 South Warner Road, the Leisure Lake Family Campground in Sumner, Michigan. You know, come on out at 3:30 on the 24th of July. Hey, you said you wanted a big ride.
Yeah, we want everybody there. We just want to come out and have fun and come and join us. More the merrier.
Lots of bikes.